Welcome to Shor Machshava on the Daf. The Shir is available for sponsorship. Please reach out for sponsorship opportunities. We're holding in Zevachim Daf Lamedalet. The Gemarah in the end of Amud Aleph brings a discussion. If you could bring a Korban from the Chayah. Rish Lakish says you could, Rabbi Yochanan says you can't. And the Maskana of the Gemarah is that you can't bring to you to Rish Lakish, that you cannot bring a Korban from a Chayah. The Marshal in Shuva in Siman Ayin Beis, he brings a discussion. Could you daven without a yarmulke? Can you daven without a kisui resh? And he says, Trumas Hadeshen says that you cannot say any brachos without covering your head. He says, I don't know where the source is. He says, I found Masechet Soifrim that it's a machlekes. If a person does not have a yarmulke, can he say Shema? He says, I usually don't argue with the Kadmoinim. I don't argue with Trumas Hadeshen. But I would think that l'chora, this is okay to do without covering your head. It's, of course, one should try to cover his head. He doesn't have to. What's his raya? So he brings a Medrash, Ve'ikar Rabba Pashach of Zayin, that it says over there, Mashal lemelech shesholak prosdgumo shaloi lemedino. Meaning the king is sending his letters, his igeris, outside to the Medina, to the country. So the Bnei also Bnei Medina, people from the country, what do? Amdu al ragleim, they stand on the feet, uparu es reshem, they uncover the head, vekaru be'emu be'yiro be'reses v'ziyah, and they read the letter with fear, because there's a letter from the king. Here is my letter, referring to Torah. I didn't tell you to stand up or to uncover your head. Meaning you can read Shema even when you're sitting down, even when your head is covered. Mashra from this Medrash, that you don't have to cover your head. But if you want to, you can say Shema covering your head. I mean, they a Medina regular king, they uncover their head when they read the letter of the king. We don't have to do that, but if you want to do it, you can do it. And there's also a raya of the Vilna Gaon in Shulchan Aruch and Siman Ches. It brings the same raya that you're not required to cover your head. So the Chidah and the Birkei Yosef in Siman Beis, Sivkot and Beis brings this marshal, and he says, continue the Medrash. There's another part of the Medrash, right after, the next words of the Medrash. The Medrash goes on and says the following. I gave you 10 different animals. 3 is under your control, meaning it's domestic. 7 are not. Sure, 6 what is that? Ayal, Tzvi, Yachmur, Iko, Dishon, Te'oi, V'zomer. Refers to the Chayas. Korban says, I never asked you to go and try to capture Chayas, to try to capture these non-domestic animals and bring them to Beis Hamikdash. Whatever's growing in your house. So the Medrash is referring to, do you have to bring a Chayah to Beis Hamikdash? The Torah says, I never asked you to do that. Does the Medrash mean to say that you're allowed to bring a Chayah if you want to? So we learned in our Gemarah, that's our Gemarah. The Gemarah here in Zevachim Daf Lamedalet says, the Chidah, from our Gemarah, what's the Maskana of the Gemarah? The Maskana of the Gemarah is that you're not allowed to bring a Chayah to Beis Hamikdash. And he goes on to say, even though Rish Lakish held you could, but it was a tiyufta, and if it's tiyufta, but pashas, that's how we pass to say the Medrash is going, not like the halacha. It's very hard to say. So when the Medrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Lo yitrachti alecha, I'm not asking you to do that, doesn't mean that if you want to do it, you could do it. It means this is how you're supposed to do it. The Korban is HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you, I'm not matriach to bring a Chayah. It means you cannot bring a Chayah. Says the Chidah, the beginning of the Medrash, when the Medrash tells you that I don't have to uncover my head, doesn't mean if I want to uncover my head, I could. The same way when it says you don't have to bring a Chayah, doesn't mean you could bring a Chayah. So also when it says that you don't have to uncover your head, doesn't mean you could uncover your head. It means you have to keep your head covered. And this is a nifladik raya that the Chidah has from our sugya to understand the pshat in a Medrash Rabbah. Anyone who wants to join or sponsor Shor Machshava Shiurim, please email shormachshava@gmail.com.